Daily stock market update, 30th of December, after US market open. UK, cheap, steady, unloved. This is the summary. I'll go into detail in a second. US, near highs, narrow leadership. Rates, supportive, not exciting. Gold, structurally bullish. Oil, stuck in a box. And crypto is consolidating. This is January that we're waiting for, and it's the market holding its breath. December has been mainly about optics and calm finishes rather than anything dramatic. January will decide whether confidence was earned or merely seasonal. So let's get into some of it in detail. The UK markets, FTSE 100, it reopened fairly quiet, as you'd expect. Everyone's already got half a foot out the door and their mind completely out the room. Early flows suggest a little bit of light buying. Banks, energy, but consumer stocks are a little bit weaker. They should be strong given how much money is being spent on the high street. But this is all positioning. It's not conviction. Okay. The relative story, UK equities continue to look cheap relative to the US. But then again, the US looks expensive on a valuation basis because the growth is greater. Think of it like this. If you've got a business which is growing faster, you would pay more for it than you would which is growing slowly. That's why the US can often look more expensive and people end up putting more money into the cheaper item, which won't grow as much and make them as much money, because growth moves markets as much as valuation does, according to the research. Okay, anyway, the UK is very much still a value play rather than a growth story, is the bottom line. Investor behavior, overseas investors remain underweight the UK. Any rally seems to be driven by domestic money going into the UK markets. Some of the changes in SIPs, ISAs, people putting more into their pensions, all of those things could give rise to more money going into the UK market. So it seems more momentum and domestic fuel rather than the rest of the world thinking, wow, this is a great place to invest. Now turning to the US, the S&P 500, NASDAQ, and the Dow, the indices remain all close to their all-time highs. But the futures contracts, which give us a bit of a head start in direction now that the market is open anyway, classic year-of-end inertia after a Santa rally. There is very little likely to happen until the new year, obviously. Market structure, performance still concentrated, obviously, in a handful of those mega cap companies. Think of those mega cap companies as the ones with the firepower, the monopoly power to do what they want, wherever they want around the world. And under this current US administration, they're not even going to let foreign governments find these companies. So these companies are the modern day equivalent of the East India Company. Western capitalism long ago worked out that if you want to extract wealth from foreign countries, you set up a corporation there. Okay. And these corporations, in setting up abroad, are taking wealth. They are the East India Company, call it the East American Company, if you wish. The irony being, it was in the hunt for India that America was discovered. So these mega cap names are going to continue growing for a long time. That's no problem for me because I've got ownership of all of them. I ride their coattails. And the people who made a lot of the money during the British Raj were the ones who were stockholders in the East India Company, as you can imagine. Okay, so the average stock is doing far less. They're getting crowded out of the market. They're getting outspent. They're getting out profited. They're getting out-margined because they can be elbowed out. And that's likely to continue into 2026. Risk profile, low volatility is masking some degree of fragility in the sense that we've got very little money trading at the moment on the 30th of December. What we're not seeing yet is the fact that we're at all-time highs. And like 2022, just a nibble at higher interest rates could mean the market takes a slow decline of 20-25%. Not saying it's going to happen, but it could. That's a degree of fragility. And that's really the big issue, interest rates. Okay, it's not conflict. It's not the things you're watching on the news, in other words. The news, mainstream news won't cover interest rates generally because it's pretty boring. Macro developments, growth outlook. The consensus remains slow global growth, slow US growth, no recession. Okay. And that's positive. It's just the Goldilocks element of not too hot, not too cold for the stock market going into 2026. Liquidity, December obviously is calm. That's artificial. Everyone's on holiday. History suggests that the first 2 weeks of January often reverse any late December signals. So the first 2 weeks of January, we should remain calm if there's a bit of a sell-off and not panic into thinking that it's going to be a bad 2026. Global risks. Well, the markets are relaxed about geopolitics. Sign of confidence, or is it a sign of complacency? I think it's neither. I think it's just a sign of reality. So it's good. There won't be peace in either the east of Europe or in the Middle East either. So the market knows that. It's known that for 2,000 years, and it's got on with it. So don't read anything into the news about war as impacting the stock market. It's just not doing it. Interest rates, UK rates earlier this year are what are underpinning equities. Basically, lower interest rates, more money flowing into consumption in the real economy, investment from businesses in the real economy, and government spending into the real economy. So all of those things are keeping the markets relatively buoyant in the UK. The US, the Federal Reserve, on hold for now. We're looking for any subtle signals that they might say it's the end of interest rate cuts. We haven't got that yet. So we're fine with that. And because those rates have been on a downward decline, it means that government spending on repaying debt also has been a little bit cheaper, which means governments have got more money to spend elsewhere, which is also good for the economy. It's getting that balance right, and we seem to be at it at the moment. Commodities, oil, Brent remains below $60 or low 60s, so we're fine. Okay, and this is partly because there's not a huge amount of demand, so that's fine. And on the supply side of oil, OPEC cartels would, if you had a cartel in most Western capitalist economies, it would be a criminal offense, i.e. to price fix amongst a group of competitor nations. But in the Middle East, you're allowed to do that. OPEC is keeping a discipline on supplying oil. So they're not feeding the markets with too much oil. They're keeping that price just bubbling crude around the $60 mark, which seems to be where they want it. They don't want it to get too high. You might say, well, I don't want it to go higher, because surely that would help them make more profits. Yes, but it could cause recessions. So they're keeping that discipline, and they're not, as often happens, cheating, where one of the cartels says, oh yes, no, we won't oversupply at that price, and then they sell more than they should. Okay, so it's all fine for the moment. Gold, record levels, exceptional year. Central bank buying, particularly by the Chinese, is continuing, and it looks like it'll continue into 2026 as well. It's keeping any dips quite shallow. Macro, gold strength suggests that it's more institutions are just a bit cautious about equities as well in the global situation, maybe overly cautious. Crypto, Bitcoin sideways. Remember these two numbers, 120, 50. If it's above $120,000, we start taking notice again. If it's below $50,000, we start taking notice again. Anything in between is just boredom and waiting. So there's no euphoria, there's no panic, it's just waiting. In 2025, it was gold and not crypto that played the role of serious macro hedge. Where did people go when they wanted to hedge concerns about the global macroeconomic situation? They went into gold. They didn't go into crypto. What are the major stock themes today? Well, mega cap tech is still the big issue. Valuation is still the concerns, but all of those concerns are secondary to momentum. Momentum is more important for the market, and as long as profits continue, I don't have an issue with it. Given that Alphabet for me went up 60% this past year, you might think, well, this is ridiculous, but my Microsoft only went up 6%. So it shows you, first of all, why you don't just bet on one company, but also that it's not all going in the same direction. And both of those companies have similar valuations now. UK banks and energy, they've been favored because of their balance sheet strength rather than growth. So if you do see people going into those, remember they might be going in not because those stocks are going to explode to the upside, but just because they see it as quite a defensive play. So not really for me. I'm not really on the defensive on that. So that's where we are. Markets, they look confident, but nobody's really asking the hard questions yet. One of the hard questions being, is the interest rate reduction cycle over? I don't think it is at the moment. We should at least have a few more months of good market returns on a worst case basis. Gold, it's like acting like a warning label on a champagne bottle. Okay, so I'm expecting at some point to be able to profit from shorting that, but not quite at the moment. And I guess January will end up exposing what December has politely ignored and the elephants in the room, and that'll come out more when everyone gets back to work. So let's wait until January, see which way January goes. The old saying being that as goes January, so goes the rest of the year. We shall see. I have a live webinar tonight at alpeshpatel.com/latest shares. That's alpeshpatel.com/latest shares. And please remember to comment on this video. If there's more of things you'd like to see, less of things you'd like to see, please comment on this. Have a look at campaignforamillion.com if you want to email me, ask me any specific questions. I'll be doing meetups next year as well. So do follow on my private Telegram channel as well as on here. And please share, forward, like, save this video. Don't forget, if you do that, it goes, the more engagement you take with this video, the more it goes to other people through YouTube and TikTok. And the more people that receive it, then the more views I get, the more it makes sense for me to continue doing them. Okay, so thank you very much, and hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.